Hello and welcome along to the West Yorkshire Football Show. We're here to chat Leeds United 1, Tottenham Hotspur 2 and give our match review from yesterday's action. I'm Stephen Brown. Joining me as ever to discuss everything Leeds United is Jason Booker. Good afternoon, Jason. If you're watching along, please do smash a like on the video, get your comments in and get subscribed to the channel as well. And if you're watching us again later, do the same. Jason, quite a busy day, actually. We're just chatting quite a few games on, a lot of 2 o'clock kickoffs at the minute, so results flying around everywhere. Obviously, we're here about 24 hours or so after the Spurs Leeds United game. Leeds narrowly missing out. Another game, really, where you can say probably didn't get what we deserved.
Yeah, we've got to be careful that we don't become that side. There is that argument to this, and I hear that to a point. But 7 games in, 8 points. We've played some difficult fixtures, and overall, for me, the feeling is that we have been extremely competitive outside of the Arsenal game. We're probably short of now 4 points that we really did deserve. At least a point against Fulham, 2 more points against Bournemouth, and then a point again yesterday. We made Spurs go to war and death for the 3 points yesterday. They're a Champions League side. They're probably going to finish in and around the top 4 again this season. When the game kicked off, you're looking at their starting 11 and the quality difference between the two sides is vast. Very, very vast. You inject a couple of them players within our side yesterday and we'd probably win the game comfortably 3-0. Imagine Xavi Simons being in our side yesterday. We just look, and that's just one of the players. They've got it throughout the whole side. 1 to 11, you could argue that it'd be a full 11 Spurs side. You'd find it hard to argue that. And yet we more than matched them. We were very good value for all 3 points. If the game had just gone slightly the other way, Joe Rodon scores early, we go 1-0 up at Ellen Road, it's a different kettle of fish. So it's for me, it's impossible to be that negative or that harsh on either Daniel Farke and the setup and the way that we're playing, or even the individuals and the players. I know we're going to break it down, and I know Pascal Stroik's going to come up in detail. I'd even include him in that as well. He's a top 6 championship centre-back that's doing the best that he's got with what's at his disposal. And the question will come is, should he then be starting games? And everybody will know my opinion on that before I even get into it. But, that is the level difference. It's just in moments. A player like Mohamed Kudus could get into any team in the division. He could play for Man City quite comfortably. He could play for Arsenal and Liverpool quite comfortably. It's a top player. So I'm just refusing again to be like, oh, we shit, oh, it's all negative war me, because it's not. No. We play against Brentford yesterday. We play against whoever from the bottom half. We played Manchester United yesterday. I think we probably beat them. And we're more than competitive against the teams that are branching into that top 7, top 8. The elite, we're going to struggle to get the results over the line from time to time and not get what we deserve. And ultimately, yes, we're beaten by 2 deflected goals. So, yeah.
For me, it was that thing again of, you see their quality, you see Simons early on and he looks sharp and he looks on it and, like you say, kudos. But then we kind of fight our way into the game and then we're creating chances. We're so physical. We're in their faces. And it just felt like it was great because it was like, oh, we're on the ball again. We're doing it again. It was like, however many games this is now where you're looking at it going, we are genuinely competing. And I think you made a great point. If you look at those 2 sides, you wouldn't pick a Leeds player over any of their starters. You just wouldn't. And I think it speaks volumes that we're so competitive against them. And yeah, my overriding feeling, yes, it's disappointing not to get anything from a game where I definitely feel we deserve minimum a point. I feel kind of reassured because we're so competitive in these games and it's almost like a flip of a coin, like say a Rodon straight away, banging it off the post and then Calvert-Lewin's chances, Peru at the end, you're thinking these little moments, if that goes our way, where, it's that statement result that I thought it might have been earlier in the week. So there's tons of positives. I think also, note of caution, it's in the back of my head as well, is, we don't want to be that team that oh, we were unlucky again. And then
Yeah,
at the end, when it gets to the end of the season, you go, oh, we were unlucky to get relegated. Nobody wants to be in that
We
position.
won't be though. Not if the performances continue, Brown. We won't.
No, absolutely no, exactly. And that's why it's reassuring. That's why, I've really enjoyed watching us in these last few games. I mean, against Bournemouth last week, we deserved all three. I think if we'd have won yesterday, I'd have said we deserved it, And I think again, it's another opposition manager probably coming away going, "Phew, thank God that one's out of the way," because.
Sorry, go on.
No, you go now.
Yeah. I was just going to say I've just finished watching Newcastle Forest in the second half of that game. Forest didn't even lay a glove on Newcastle. No. They were absolutely battered. It should have been a lot more than 2-0. Sells kept them in the game. If the performances and the results were like that, I'd be sitting here saying a very different story. I'd be worried about where the performances and the results were going to come from. Right now, I'm not worried where the results are going to come from at all, because I think we play. You're frowning at the same comment that I found out.
Just sticking it in now.
I mean, football is all about opinions, but some are. We'll come to it. We'll come to it, Michael. It's yours. We'll come to it. But yeah, the performances overall are good. We just have to face facts that we're matching up against teams with so much more quality. And yesterday we made Spurs look on par with us. We didn't give them, and on another day we win that game 1-0 and they're not able to score because the two deflected chances don't go in. Pascal defends them slightly better and they don't go in. So, the crazy thing is if neither of them chances got a deflection, Darlow might have saved them both. I think the second one will probably still go in anyway because it's coming back across and Darlow probably gets missed. But the first one he certainly saves. So it's just the way that football goes sometimes. And like I say, when you've got that level of quality, they're capable of creating so many more chances, gilt-edged chances than we are. And we're limiting these teams to so few. I mean, the XG yesterday, 0.5 for Spurs. Give me that every game. Absolutely. Give me that every game. If we're capable of making teams struggle to create chances so much, we're not going to concede very often.
No,
I saw. Sorry, just to finish, I saw somebody mention that we've now started shipping goals since we've started creating chances. That's not really fair. We've conceded one Semenyo free kick that goes under a wall. I mean, it's just a bizarre, and then a last-minute equaliser, and then 2 deflected chances. It's just a nonsense. And people will write whatever narrative they want, and I'm not just a happy clapper. But at the end of the day, observe what's going on in front of you. That's all.
I would probably go as far as saying this is about the best I could hope for how we're competing at the minute. I couldn't have imagined us doing actual more than we're doing because of the players we've got. I just can't imagine what else we think we could be doing. I mean, if you look at every stat, I mean, I've got the stats up here from yesterday: shots on target, possession, passes, pass accuracy. We're ahead of Spurs in every single statistic, apart from obviously the one that matters. I can appreciate that, but would limit. I think there's there must be about 4 or 5 teams that have not even got 1 XG against us in a game. Yeah. That says a hell of a lot.
And how many people, Browney, would have wrote us off at the beginning of the season from getting exactly. Some people would have put us on Wolves 2 points.
Yeah,
and absolutely. Not only have we got good points. I had somebody said yesterday, well, the points that we've got so far are not enough. What? If we finish 14th, I'd be happy. Done. So we've technically, we have got enough. If the season was to finish today, we'd have enough. If the season was to finish on the trajectory of points that we've got so far, we'd probably have enough because it'll take us to about 40. Yeah. So it's just a nonsense. What's happened is people's expectations have changed because they've seen that we're competitive. So now the fans, Leeds fan basis is, everybody's gone, oh, actually, we can win these games, so we now should be 12th. We should now be 10th. We should now. That's what's happened already, 8 games in. It were only 3 weeks ago when we lost against Sheffield Wednesday that people were questioning Daniel Farke. Now that's gone a little bit quieter, and the tactic, he has kind of got a little bit of breathing space because the performances have been good. But now all of a sudden the expectations have shifted. It's just a nonsense to me.
Really you can't be both ways, can you? You can't say, well, we're absolutely useless, players are useless, oh, but why aren't we beating Spurs? You can't have it always. Let's just pick up on Michael's points here. In fact, let's run through some comments, and we'll start with Gav as well. Gav, I feel we're slowly getting sucked into the bottom three due to not having a clinical striker. We spent 30 million on backup defenders, but 0 on strikers. Let's not deal with that right now. What we'll do is we'll pick up about DCL in a little bit, because I really want to get to Michael's one here.
Just on the back of Gav's there as well, because he's then followed that up with last week proved very costly now after yesterday. I'd have taken 1 point before the 2 games.
Yeah.
I would have done. Yeah. Now, some people have said, Jay,
top 4 teams,
Yeah, some people would say, Jay, you're mental. But we're playing Bournemouth, who many would say are the team to watch in the Premier League right now. And then Spurs, who have undefeated in 7, top 4. They're both a top 6 side, and Spurs are a Champions League side. Whether it's at Ellen Road or not, it gives me optimism that we're capable of getting points and results at home, because Ellen Road is such a fortress.
Yeah.
But it doesn't give us a defined right to then just go and beat everybody, let alone 2 teams that are, like I say, going to be fighting it out for top 6, top 7. They're both very, very good sides. So for me, a point out of the 2 games, it's arguably more than we would have thought we would have got. If you would put it this way, right? Bournemouth and Spurs, if you were on last man standing, or if you had to pick a game that you were gonna say, yeah, Bournemouth are gonna win, a team are gonna win from the Premier League this weekend, you would have arguably picked Bournemouth away at Ellen Road or Spurs away at Ellen Road. You would. So the fact that we've got a point out of it is actually okay. Yeah. The follow-up now, what Gav's point will come into play if we then don't get points that we need to get against Burnley and West Ham in the next block of 4. I think we play them the next 2 up. Then he will be right. So sorry, I'll let you come to Michael's point.
No, absolutely no. But Michael here, I've been saying Gabby has been average, if not below par. I'm failing to see what he's offered more so than Junior. Defensively, Gabby has been poor as well. Most matches, Aronson has more defensive contribution. Just want to follow it up with his other point. Gabby match ratings 5.7 versus Spurs, was in part responsible for the winner. It was a 5.4 versus Bournemouth. Wolves, decent, 7.2, 5.8 Fulham, 4 against us. I'm just not seeing it from Gabby.
This is the problem with watching statistic sheet. I mean, I can really crush this to bits, but I'm kind of interested to get your take on it as well. It's not just me.
I mean, for me, he's been our best signing so far. I think the 2 moments that have gone against him are just horrible bits of luck, really. I mean, the Fulham, nobody can account for it. Anyone in his position, the same thing could have happened. 100% not his fault. Yesterday, he gets tangled up, but I don't really class it as like a classic mistake. It was just the kind of ball hits him and he gets tangled up. I actually thought he did really well against Kudos. The thing with Kudos is he is always going to have a moment when he gets away from his defender. And I actually thought Gabby was really strong against him and didn't get beat too often from him. So I really disagree with that, Michael. I think he's been absolutely superb and definitely worth the hype.
Gabby wasn't beaten down the line. If you shepherd a winger inside, it then becomes the responsibility of the left centre-back and the midfielder to deal with it, not the full-back. So he actually did brilliant yesterday. He kept Kudus as quiet as he possibly could have done. The mistake that you mentioned, he probably should go and head it in hindsight. It's a tricky one because it's coming over the top and it hits him on the back. But for me, he wasn't at all responsible for yesterday. I think without a shadow of a doubt, he's been the best signing. He's been exceptional. And me and you have been talking for the last couple of weeks about him being the one that other teams will look at as a potential to go and sign. You look at how Kirkes has started at Liverpool as an example. Gudmundsson has looked every bit a top 8, I would say, left back. He's been sensational. And the real danger is the fact that you kind of back up your argument, Michael, with match stats. Is exactly why they don't mean very much.
No.
They're all
it's
a nonsense based on how many passes he's delivered into a certain area. The own goal obviously would have played against him massively against Fulham. Like, he did nothing wrong against Fulham other than the ball accidentally hit him on the head and flew in his own net. Like, it wasn't his fault. He is levels and levels above Junior Firpo. Levels and levels and levels. I mean, he's better going forward than Firpo. and he's massively better defensively. He's more consistent going forward. I mean, Junior Firpo would have been getting eaten alive in the Premier League so far this season.
Kudos would have had an absolute field day with Firpo. I mean, it would have, no chance. Some great comments coming through. I've starred a couple as well to come back to because I don't want to kind of jump around from different topics. Skip, some great comments there that I do want to cover as well, which we will do, mate. Well, let's talk about. I mean, obviously, probably a big point of contention yesterday, Pascal Struijk. You mentioned it at the top. We might as well kind of deal with it there for me. And it was interesting because we had Lewis in our group chat who was watching it as well, and he thought I was probably a bit harsh on Struijk for the first goal. Having watched it back, I still think I'm right. I think he's far too. He leaves so much space for Tell, and he's inviting him in. Yeah. To get to the point where he can hit a strike like that instead of kind of, doing anything else, taking him away from whatever, Struijk's left-footed, he can kind of close down that side. He gives him, Jay, I mean, I watched it again last night. It's like he gives him so much room. Now, the second one I have more sympathy with because it is Kudos on the ball and he's so quick and everything like that. But, I mean, the first one, he gives him so much space. There was also that moment in the first half where they're on the break and Struijk's literally running away. He's running away. And I'm like, what is he doing? What are you doing? They're charging into goal. And I'll be honest, I've not done it, but I would bet if you go and look at some of the defending we did in the relegation season when Pascal was playing, it will look very reminiscent of what we saw in bits from yesterday. For me, I would like now Bijol to come in. I think you've paid a big price for a defender who hit a lot of great statistical points last season, and I think now is the time to do it because it's like I said. I said on Friday, Pascal's got this in him, and these kind of moments and these kind of things will happen with him in the team. And again, yesterday we've been punished. Spurs haven't created that much, and yet we've conceded 2 goals. And I think that first goal, especially, just for me, shouldn't have happened, and it was Struijk's fault.
I've been saying it for 3 years, and you made a great point in the preview that he is fine when the going's good, when the going's tough, and he needs to do defending, he struggles. He's a very passive centre-back. He allows the attackers to make decisions, and he reacts to them rather than sometimes being aggressive and going out and winning the situation, dealing with the situation. He'd rather see if the striker strikes the ball off target or gives the keeper an opportunity to make a save. That's just how he is. Both technically on both goals, he went with the wrong leg. He goes with the right leg for the first one when he should go with the left, and he goes with the left one for the second one when he should go with the right, and he has more chance of making a block. Joe Rodon or Sean Longstaff are throwing themselves in front of that. They make a block. I truly believe they make a block, whereas Pascal's just a bit wet with it. His concentration, he goes after the ball too much in the wrong areas of the pitch. I saw him at one point yesterday at left wing back when we were still playing the standard formation, and he's just like aimlessly going after it. And I've said this for 3 years. This is no shock to me. He's got some real good attributes. He's pretty quick. He's good in the air. But outside of that, his concentration levels at top end level when he's got to do a decent amount of defending is really, really poor. And I think, as I've said for 3 years, his ball playing ability is massively overrated. He puts the ball into dodgy areas far too often. He'll clip the odd one into the channel and it'll look beautiful, but that doesn't make up for all the ones that go wrong. And the amount of mistakes over the last, especially the 2 seasons in the Championship, that haven't led to a goal have been ignored because they haven't led to a goal by the fans. This is like as a mass, they've been just ignored. So for me, it's just not a surprise. And I don't know Bijol's Premier League level yet. We have to, I was excited by the signing when we made it. What we've seen from him in pre-season and then in the Sheffield Wednesday game have been a little bit worrying, especially his recovery pace. But you have to believe that the level that he's at is gonna be better than what Pascal Struijk is able to deliver. So he's got to come in. He's got to. Not that it's an alarming rate. And I've got to caveat this with saying that the centre back partnership has been encouraging this season so far. The pair of them have played really well together. But whenever we look vulnerable, it's because of Pascal Schroeder.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah, I think that's absolutely. It builds on the point that I made about when the going's good, he looks great, and you get those passes. But when we're up against it or it's 0-0, we just get these nervy moments from us. And yeah, I agree. Do you realistically think? Can you see without an injury though, Bijol coming in?
It's a tough one because Daniel Farke has shown throughout the years, without the 3 years, he is very loyal to players until they kind of give him no option but to come out. Bijol's probably a bit of an exception because again, he was such a big outlay. It was the first signing. He was such a key kind of component, and we knew we needed this centre-back reinforcement. Bear in mind, we didn't just sign Bijol, we signed Bornau as well. So we needed reinforcements within that area. So you can't even say to me, oh, Bijol was signed as a third choice, because that's not how it kind of, the dynamic of it felt. And last season, again, people will tell me I'm wrong, but facts prove me I'm right. We were better with Ampadu in the back line. We were better with Ethan Ampadu in there over Pascal Schroeder because the levels were lower in the midfield and what we needed. Gruev could replace enough of what Ampadu could do at championship level. It's different in the Premier League. And I said this at the back end of last season. Ampadu belongs nowhere near a centre-back position in the Premier League. That's not what I'm saying. But over the last 2 years, Ampadu at championship level was a far better centre-back than Pascal Schroeder was. And that is worrying when you're then thinking about the fact that I wouldn't play Ampadu at Premier League level either. So, he will always be a concern because it's in here with him. It's the decision making, the physicality side of things are very good, but he's just not got it between the ears. So yeah,
no, exactly. Gavin says here, more worried about our goals from strikers and defence. Well, let's talk about that aspect as well. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin probably should have about 3 goals for Leeds now, I think. What do you make of how he's doing at the moment? Obviously, we know, he's hold up play, and we talked about it. We waxed lyrical about it last week, about everything he gives to this team. There was that bit in the second half where he, I think it sets up Pirou's chance where he leapt in the air. He's hung in the air, didn't he? He's so brilliant at it. But then the other side of the coin is, I don't know about you, but I never believe he's going to put that ball in the back of the net when the ball's at his feet. I just never believe he's going to put away a chance. And to be honest, sometimes it looks like he doesn't either.
I know what you mean. I do know what you mean. We're gonna we're entering into Patrick Bamford 2018 conversation all over again. It's exactly the same. It's exactly the same. At championship level, Bamford offered us so much more than goals. And yeah, he scored, I think, 17 in that championship season, and he should have scored about 30. We all know that. But what he gave us in and around the rest of it was so worth it, and we saw the fruits of the labour with that. And then obviously in the Premier League season, he did what he did, but that was an outlier. It was a bit of a fluke. Not fluke, but an outlier, let's just say. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's exactly the same, just a better version of it. Everything that he brings outside of putting the ball in the back of the net is sensational for the level that we're at the minute. And with the amount of chances that we created yesterday, not just his, they don't happen without him there. I've already seen people say, oh, Mecha should play. Well, Mecha doesn't score a lot of goals either. No. And Mecha doesn't do the amount of really good creative link-up work that Calvert-Lewin did yesterday either. Yeah. So he plays every game that is fully fitting for me. And we hope that Okafor scores. We hope that Brendan starts chipping in with some. We hope that Longstaff starts chipping in with some. The goals. And Calvert-Lewin's capable of scoring 6 to 10. If Calvert-Lewin scores 10 goals this season, we stay up. For me, it's a different level in terms of like when Bamford underperformed in terms of the XG of scoring goals and we won the league. He scored 17. Calvert-Lewin's will be exactly the same at between 8 and 10. I reckon it'll be around that kind of range. He's phenomenal at everything else other than putting the ball in the back of the net. But if he was able of doing that, he'd be playing for one of the top 4 teams. That's the truth.
Is it something, locked in, do you think, with a player? If they're kind of, he's 28 years of age, is there any way of improving that aspect of your game really at that age? Or is it just a case of it's just not going to be there for him?
It's a tricky one. I mean, some strikers do have Indian summers, don't they, where they kind of come alive in the early 30s and stuff. And he's not the kind of striker that relies heavily on pace or anything like that. He could, but the truth is again, similar to Pascal Stroke, this is a composure thing. It's between the ears. It's not a technical problem. Putting the ball in the back of the net is the easiest and the hardest thing to do in the world. You know, if you were to ask a midfielder to put the ball on a sixpence into the bottom corner every time without a goalkeeper, without the crowd, and without all the players around them, they'd be able to do it every single time. But then the difference of doing it in that environment when the clutch moment comes is a completely different world. We can all think of several strikers that are just like that, and that is what it is. You know, that is why the strikers are paid the top money. I don't know if any of you watched the penalty that Baltimore took 20 minutes ago. But, you know, he walks up to the ball and he strikes it perfectly into the postage stamp of the top corner like it was the most natural, effortless thing in the world. That's a top player right there that can do that. You know what I mean? Not many players can do that. Patrick Bamford with no crowd, he can do that. You know what I mean? We saw him do it. So, yeah, it's a composure thing. My guess would be probably not. At 28, you're going to struggle to get that.
Are you worried, though, that how that impacts you kind of going forward? Because, I mean, we've scored, we've scored, 6 goals in the last 3 games. So it doesn't feel like, we're not able to score at the minute. And, we look more of a threat off set pieces. But it feels like he could have 3-4 good chances a game, and there's a high potential he won't put any of them away. Is there a concern that kind of then disrupts confidence levels, or people start to lose a bit of faith going, God, he's missed again? Is that a worry as well? It's like when you're playing 5-a-side with your mates and you've got Dave up front who just is missing everything. You think, oh, bloody hell, maybe I'll just take a shot for this instead. Can it start to bleed into other aspects, do you think?
I think it can. I think it's more worrying at Premier League level, because in the Championship, we always knew we were going to create more chances. Whereas in the Premier League, you don't always know you're going to do that. But the facts are we are creating a lot of chances. I mean, I were happy that Brendan got on the end of a couple yesterday, and he's starting to get shots away. He hit a really good left-footed shot that ended up leading to Okafor's goal.
Yeah.
So it's a tricky one. It's a real tricky one, because I think as a set of players, you're more acutely aware of what I'm talking about than we are as fans. They will know this situation. They will know what's going on. And I think, Calvert-Lewin for me is the kind of striker that will always put the shot on target, but it will never be the kind of finish that will go right in the bottom corner and you're expecting him to score. He'll just keep on getting him on target and hoping that the keeper makes a fluff, or it goes through the keeper, or it bounces back. And Bamford's the same. Bamford just cares about getting it on target first, and then worries about it going in second. So I would be more concerned if we're not creating the chances. We're creating the chances, and we're going to score enough goals now, I think. I personally think. I think, we need a better sample size of games now. We need to go into this Burnley game, the West Ham game, and like, who have we played really that you would have expected us to beat? Wolves.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, really.
And don't get me wrong.
And only in the context of Wolves being terrible this season.
Yeah. And people will say, well, Jay, we need to pick up points somewhere to stay up. And they're absolutely spot on. Yeah. But we have then picked up other points. That's kind of my point. We beat Everton. We get a good point against Bournemouth. And then you have to apply some context to these other results as well. Newcastle as well at home. I forget about that one. That's a massive point. Yeah. And then you apply context to Fulham away. You apply context to Spurs at home and Bournemouth at home. We should have got more points. We're not sat here saying we were beaten by Bournemouth and we deserve to lose that game.
No.
I'm not saying that. So,
no. Well, and when we got relegated from the Premier League last night, it was like week in, week out, you're going, we are crap.
Yeah, we got thumped.
We were saying that in September.
Yeah.
We are crap. What I mean? So we've not said that once. Next thing I kind of wanted to, I was thinking about this today, and I'll kind of ask the question first, and then I'll give a little bit of an explanation as to why I'm pondering it. And that is, how do we get Okafor to finish games? And the reason why I think this can be key to Leeds is I was watching Fulham versus Bournemouth Friday night, and Fulham are winning 1-0, and Bournemouth look pretty much out of ideas. Semenya's been very quiet, not really had much involvement in the game. He's not impacted it. In the 80th minute, Semenya picks it up, dribbles past a couple of Fulham players and bangs in a terrific goal through the keeper's legs. Then all of a sudden, everything changes. The Bournemouth end up winning 3-1. But it had to be on the pitch to do that. Now, I look at Okafor, and I thought it was brilliant yesterday.
Yeah.
I want someone with those capabilities on in the 85th minute, the 90th minute, the 95th minute, who can pull a rabbit out of the hat, who can maybe create a bit of magic that's going to make sure you go 3-1 up against Bournemouth, gets you a 2-2 draw against Spurs, beats Fulham away. You know, that kind of player with a bit of magic in his boots. And when he goes off, it's almost like, well, who else is going to really create something?
Yeah.
You know, who's got the magic to do that? So my thing is now, I think I would love to see him just stay on. And even if he's bloody knackered, look, you're playing one game a week at the minute. I mean, how hard can it be to stay on for another 15 minutes? You know, but I feel like it's vital we get this guy and keep him on the pitch till the bitter end.
He plays 80 minutes yesterday, so we have seen an increase in minutes, which is what I did say pre-match. We were kind of discussing this. Calvert-Lewin gets the full game, doesn't he? Which is good, because I think he's in the same kind of ballpark as that. If he can start finishing a few more chances, he will have the same impact later in the games as well. But he's spot on. Okafor looks like the only real X factor we have. He is absolutely key to really breaking down teams and creating them one-off moments, not to the same level as Rafinha, but a Rafinha-esque. When you're looking for somebody, he has got that capability in his boots. I'm not talking about the goal yesterday. Again, it's more beating players, committing players, being dynamic, changing the direction in which he's going quickly to open up spaces. I was really impressed with him again yesterday, and again, he's got good opposition. Pedro Porro's probably one of the best right backs in the division. So yeah, I agree with you, and hopefully after the international break we can start to see that. Because I mean, if I'm going to be harsh towards Daniel Farke yesterday, I didn't like the way that he kind of went for the game. I disagreed with you in the WhatsApp chat immediately when we were kind of going at it, and I was like, you know what, 3-5-2, we're doing something a little bit different, and it's changing. It's going to try and change the game. All it really did was stifle us, but I think that had a lot to do with the way that Spurs then set up defensively as well. They kind of made it really difficult for us to play. We did create chances. The best chance that was created later on was a Pirro chance, which was long into Calvert-Lewin, flicked down, and Pirro, as Pirro does, instinctively just hits it towards the corner, and it was a great save by Vicario. So in one, I'm contradicting myself a little bit because I didn't like it, but then he did create chances. But it felt like Jack Harrison and I can't remember who was I think it was Bogle that was playing then on the far right hand side. It felt like they were then so much deeper and we couldn't get to the byline anymore because they just didn't have the capabilities of breaking into that area of the pitch. So in some sense I liked it, in some sense I didn't. But yeah, I agree on Okafor completely. We have to get him on the pitch as much as we possibly can, especially while we don't have Dan James and Willie Gnonto, because you look at them two then for some sort of creativity in comparison to whatever else we have.
Yeah, absolutely. As Michael says here, Okafor was a bright spot yesterday.
Can I just push back on Michael? Like, you're saying it was a bright spot yesterday. What was your like kind of expectation from yesterday? Because you're saying that like, and please tell me if I'm wrong, but you're saying it like it was full of negatives yesterday. We were very, very good yesterday, and we're good value for a point. On another day, we win the game. There were loads of good points yesterday. I thought Joe Rodon was excellent. I thought Ethan Ampadu was very good. I thought Calvert-Lewin, outside of putting the ball in the back of the net, was good. He had one really, really good chance in the first half where it was still 1-0, he should have scored. Outside of that, I don't think he did that much wrong. He had a really good chance which took a little deflection and then was saved. He couldn't have done much more with that. There was one gilt-edged chance for me yesterday. Okafor was good. I thought Brendan was good. He set the tone really, really well early. gave the ball away a couple of times, but he created a couple of really good chances. Did Brendan yesterday? You know, I'm missing a couple on purpose. Pascal, Anton Stack, who I know we're going to come. And I saw people raving about him yesterday. I thought Jayden Bogle had a really poor game yesterday. I thought he had a really poor game.
We both commented on it, didn't we? Kind of, it was a bit frustrating, wasn't it? His end product was terrible yesterday.
I'll just say it as it is, and you know, people kind of keep the reputation because Jayden Bogle's so good and he's been brilliant for so long now, and he has. People then just ignore him when he has a bad performance. I thought it was really poor yesterday, like really poor. I thought his delivery was poor. I thought his positional play at times was poor, and he gave Joe Rodon more to do than he needed to do. So that's just how I kind of analyse it yesterday. But them three aside, I thought the rest of the performance was pretty good.
Yeah, no, I agree. You mentioned him there. Let's deal with him, and I want to bring up Skip's point from earlier. Personally, I think Stack's last couple of games, he hasn't been as good as usual, but he does cover some ground. Maybe for the Burnley game, start Tanaka instead of him. Great point, Skip, and I want to get into this because I've seen it the last few games. Stack giving the ball away in problematic areas under no pressure. And it's really frustrating because it's just so sloppy. Last two games as well, he's given free kicks away. I know he didn't commit the foul; it was Ampadu. But what's he doing? I mean, he honestly, I was pulling my hair out because he basically just passes the ball to no one, in between the Spurs player and Ampadu. So Ampadu has to go try and win it. It's like, why are you giving us a problem there? Yeah. And he did it 3, 4, maybe even 5 times yesterday where he's just giving the ball away in areas where I'm literally like, just kick it forward rather than do that. It doesn't make sense. Now, I'm not saying his whole game was written off. I thought he did some good stuff yesterday as well. Yeah, some lovely 1-2s around the corner. And like, you know, Skip mentioned, he still covers so much ground. And that physical kind of space that he takes up is vital to us. But I agree with Skip. I was frustrated with Stack, and it'll be interesting because Burnley are not Spurs. And I thought Tanaka looked really sharp when he came on yesterday. So there is an argument that you bring Tanaka in because I think Longstaff you can't drop and Ampadu you can't drop. So I think there are question marks over Stack at the minute. And we know he's got something potentially special in his locker, a la the free kick against Wolves. But I don't think it can just be he's nailed down the position completely. You know, it was, he got subbed yesterday. And immediately I thought Tanaka was, sharper and punchier with the ball. But I mean, what did you think, Jay?
It is funny. I mean, I'm gonna go from the end and go backwards with this one, but it's funny because going into the Burnley game, I think that's a perfect game for Anton Stack. I think he absolutely dominates the game. Because his levels are so much higher than a Burnley, he will probably look sensational, like he did against Wolves. But I agree with you completely on Stack, and I think we all got really excited, and rightly so. He's a good signing, and the levels look to be as such. But now we're starting to see some of the reasons why probably some of the bigger teams didn't take a chance on him. There's a reason that Leverkusen and Bayern Munich probably stayed away from him because that would have been a natural transition given the levels that they're at, especially for Leverkusen. And he has got a bit of Pascal Struijk about him. He's got a bit of a bozo brain. Yeah. He's got all the physical elements. His passing range is brilliant. He's good in the tackle. He's 6'4". He's a giant of a man. He can cover so much ground. But up here at times, he goes wandering. It's not like him wandering off in the game, but his brain doesn't quite engage with what's going on, his game awareness around him. And you're absolutely spot on. I mean, there were moments in the Bournemouth game, which we picked out, where he just kind of like headed it back into dangerous areas for no reason. And yesterday, exactly the same, passing it into areas. And you're like, what on earth are you doing? Like, it made no logical sense. And it's easy for us as fans to kind of look from the ground up and look down at the full scale of the game. But top Premier League players don't make them mistakes. They know better, So he's a funny one. He's definitely a funny one because he's a bit of an enigma. Because he'll go from having one great moment to one really daft moment. I still worry about Tanaka. I love Tanaka, and at Championship level is a cheat code, is the guy. I just worry about his physicality at Premier League level. For me, I thought he looked good yesterday when he came on. His decision making in the half spaces and punching the ball through in areas looked really nice. I just worry that he's going to get bullied in Premier League games. But then, Burnley, is the perfect game to give him the opportunity to go and express himself. Tanaka for me was the full responsibility for us losing the 3 points against Bournemouth. He was fully responsible for that. So it's a tricky one. It's a real tricky one because I think you take Stack out and you're taking some of your Vavavoom out as well.
Yeah.
You some of that real Premier League quality. Same argument that I hope we're going to be having for Biol. Biol should look better than Pascal Stroik. He should.
Yeah, I think you sum it up nicely about him being an enigma. It definitely feels like that. It feels like within 5 minutes you can get something good and something bad, and hopefully he'll sharpen up because, like you say, I think his ceiling is very high, and I hope he ends up being the good stuff on a more consistent basis. Just before we get into one issue, Aronson yesterday, I agree with yourself. I thought he started off the game, you could see, full of confidence, full of bounce. A couple of points where I was frustrated with him was his crossing. He had a couple of really good positions to cross, and they were just flat as a pancake. There were a few times I noticed yesterday as well where he was trying to shield the ball and the Spurs player kept nipping around the other side and just pinching it off him. I was like, that happened 3 or 4 times. But again, I mean, it's, that defensive vigor he's got, the effort. I don't feel like he's letting us down at the minute. I really don't feel like I'm looking at him going, he's a real weak spot and he's costing us this and costing us that. I feel like he's definitely contributing. And if he could just put a bit more quality, final ball quality, if he could just improve that, he'd be such a threat because it's just gagging for him to get a goal or assist, isn't it? I mean, that shot that he took yesterday, like you say, left foot, and it was the right type of shot. It was the right type of shot. Hit it well, and it ends up going in for Okafor.
Yeah, 100%. I think you can see his confidence growing. I thought you could see it against Bournemouth, and you could see it again yesterday. I'd argue that the right side of midfield, whether everybody's fit or not, is his to lose right now. I think his performances have been good enough to say he deserves to start. I think we've seen more from him over the 8 games than we have either Nonto or James. I know Nonto and James have been out of the last 2, but he's outperformed them. It's as simple as that. He's outperformed them. So he does such a great amount of work defensively. I'd like to see Bogle make more of what he then gives him down that side on an attacking sense, because Bogle's got the quality that Brendan doesn't. Some of that's down to Brendan as well. There were a moment yesterday where Brendan crossed the ball and it was a poor cross, and he could have played it 5 yards to Bogle on the overlap out on the right-hand side. I think it was in the first half. So there is a bit of... The thing is like, you're never going to get me sat on here and say, like, Brendan's perfect, because he's not. He's got so many deficiencies. I just recognise the fact that within this squad as it currently is, in this reincarnation of it, he's probably the best we've got. Yeah. And he's arguably better out wide than he's in the 10. Because in the 10, he needs too much time. We could get away with it in the Championship, but in the Premier League, we can't. So I've been really happy with him, mate. I don't... Again, if he was a young Leeds lad that had made his way into the team and he was delivering these performances, everybody would be like, yeah, he's a player who's one to watch. And he works extremely hard. He gives us so much. That's what they'd be saying, but they don't, because it's Brendan. So yeah, I thought it was all right yesterday. Didn't think it was great, but I thought it was all right.
One person who I didn't think was all right, the referee. We have to touch on it, but oh my god, honestly, it was ridiculous at times. I didn't really notice him at first, and he was quite lenient, and then, oh my god, it was just the decisions, and it was just an absolute disaster class, I thought, from the referee yesterday.
Stinker, mate. I mean, he's one of the referees that had to write a letter of apology to us last season, according to Daniel Farker. We've been here before. I wouldn't say that he didn't make a decision that make or breaks the game. Like, it wasn't like he gave Spurs a bad penalty decision or whatever, and that then lost us the game. But the refereeing throughout the whole match contributed towards us losing the game, because it stifled us and helped Spurs constantly. It felt very one-sided, and it felt just completely inconsistent throughout the whole game. He lost control of the game several times. I mean, Kudus was lucky to stay on the pitch. Romero was lucky to stay on the pitch as well. it was just niggly, and yeah, he didn't feel like a Premier League referee. I mean, he probably didn't feel like a champ. I don't know what championship game it was last season, by the way, but I'm just gonna
There were so many, though,
say again.
There were so many last year, weren't there? Where we
there was,
I mean, didn't we?
So bad. I'm gonna let you just discuss that with the chat just for a minute because I'm desperate for the loo. If that's
yeah, go through, mate.
1 minute.
Yeah, let's run through some of your comments. Thanks for all your comments today. And look, if you've not liked the video already, if you could do us a huge favour, smash a like on the video, get subscribed to the channel. A little shout out for our mate Downsy as well, Huddersfield Town fan. He's on for Town Talk tonight at 8 o'clock after a poor result for the Terriers. For your comment here, let's have a look. Tottenham had 12 referees on their side, men in black. Fergal, is that true? As welcome, yeah, absolutely shocking. Let's see what else. I think is it frozen up from my end. I'm still coming through. Go, what's going on with it? Oh, there we go. I think I'm back in the room. Let's have a look, Michael. That's what is upsetting me, Browney. The crosses from both sides, wingers and fullbacks are low driven. Not what you want for DCL. You want it high. Yeah, just saying. Obviously, we got all those apology letters last season from referees. We don't want that kind of thing again. I mean, the refereeing's bonkers, isn't it? Sometimes, you watch games, you just think, what is going on?
So inconsistent. So, I mean, there were a couple of offside decisions yesterday as well that were just really were head scratching. One of them was for Spurs. There were an offside in the second half for Spurs that were he were 5 yards onside, and it's like, what are you watching? I mean, I know they're all capable of making mistakes, but yeah, dodgy officiating. I mean, we've got a serious problem with it in this country, haven't we? Serious problem. I mean, I know we mentioned it briefly the other day, and this weren't in this country, but that decision against Celtic midweek was one of the worst I've ever seen. Did you see that? I mentioned it in the group yesterday that Manchester United got a VAR overturn. Well, not a VAR overturn, but there were a VAR decision that the referee got called over to the screen for, that the referee went against the VAR call. And I thought it was really interesting one yesterday.
Yeah, because the referee didn't make a decision. VAR called him.
VAR called.
He disagreed it, didn't he?
Yeah, VAR called that there was a foul from Sheshko for a high foot. Referee went over to check the call, obviously based on the fact that VAR said it should have been a penalty, and the referee said no penalty. And it's interesting. It'd be interesting to know whether it'd have been the same if it had been for Manchester United at Old Trafford, because that's where it was yesterday. And I actually agreed with the referee. I thought it wasn't a penalty. I thought it would have been very, very soft. But then you go into this realm of, well, if it had been anywhere else on the pitch, it'd have been considered a high foot.
Yeah.
So it's a very difficult job being a referee. I'll say that.
Yeah.
It's a very, very difficult gig. But it just felt yesterday like it was given to Spurs because they shouted the loudest.
Have you seen what's going on? I think it's like the under-20 tournament or the under-21 tournament where there's no VAR. It's called something else. It's like another company that are doing video reviews. And what it is basically, they don't interject to the games at all, but managers on both sides can basically challenge to referee decisions,
like a
green card or something, and then it goes to this video review, and then they decide. I'm like, sounds bonkers, but could be interesting. Could be interesting to see how it works out.
I actually like that because what it'd do is it'd stop them claiming for everything.
Yeah,
it'd stop a team feeling really aggrieved by everything. But then what do? Do you have? I've not used my green card, 95th minute, a penalty gets given, and then you just throw in the green card because you might as well.
Yeah, it could get silly.
It's just a bit of a grey area that you can go into there. I mean, I think there's an avenue for, eventually, AI is going to get so strong. I know we talk about AI all the time now in life, but AI is going to get so good that we won't need officials at all.
Yeah.
We just won't need officials at all. There'll be linesmen, like an electronic linesman that like it'll come up on big screen, it'll just say offside.
Yeah.
And it'll just get ruled out or not. And I mean, eventually, will you even need an official for the decision on the pitch? Like, there'll be no referee that they can even talk to. A tackle will go in and it'll be just like foul or just get like shown up on a screen or something. Like, yeah, it's gonna be mad what it'll look like. But
yeah, that's it. Football video support, that's what they call it. Yeah.
I mean, for me, I'd just take it back to what it was in the 90s. I really would. Like, just let the people make the decisions. The fact that we've taken the responsibility away from the guys that are doing the decisions at the pitch has made them worse.
Yeah. I think offside, like semi-automated, whatever, fine.
Yeah.
But I think everything else, just leave it, because it's, we're still disagreeing about it. Let's have a look at the league table then, Jay. So Leeds, we're down into 15th now. Brentford are currently losing against Man City. You would suspect it might stay that way. If it does, we're 4 points above Burnley, who've now slipped into the relegation zone. Forest on a horrible run, but you can see Aston Villa have got going. Wolves picked up a couple of points. West Ham have got Nuno in. Is it starting to look a little bit more how we kind of expected it at the start of the season?
I would say it is, yeah. I'd actually say that bottom 7 there, including Fulham, because I actually think Fulham have looked really poor so far this season, even including against us. I know they got the first win of the season against us, but I don't think they've been much to write home about. But I reckon that bottom 7 will be exactly how the bottom 7 will finish, in a different order. There'll be some sort of different order that it'll finish in, but they are. It's almost kind of like it's created that second division, the division below the rest of them. I can't think of anybody from the top 12 that will end up dropping into that bottom 7. So yeah, he's pretty much taken from Sunderland. Yeah, Sunderland definitely could. So yeah, I'd say that's pretty much a good start. And I think the fact that Wolves are so in there, West Ham are so in there, and have already sacked the manager. Forest have already sacked the manager. They're probably going to go through another one as well. Brentford have got a set piece coach in charge. Like all of these things are contributing towards why we can stay up this season, along with the fact that we're more than competitive so far. So yeah, it's I think it's been a great start to the season for Leeds. Not sensational. There definitely could be more points on the board given the couple of results that we've mentioned. But as you said earlier on in the show, it's as much and as good as we could probably have hoped for.
Yeah, absolutely. Just end it there.
Yeah. I'd end it now, yeah.
Huge games coming up, Jay. I mean, it's kind of a different context, a different viewpoint on it. We've got Burnley away after the international break. No games next week. Then we're back in action 3 p.m. Saturday, 18th of October. Burnley away. I mean, what's going to be your kind of feeling going into that? Because it is away from home. So there's always that kind of thing of, well, look, if you get anything away from home in the Premier League, but it is Burnley. And I do feel we're more than capable of winning that game. Absolutely. But that's going to be a feisty one.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be. I mean, Burnley have looked better than what I thought they would.
Yeah.
They've looked a lot better than what I thought they would. Jadon Anthony started the season really well, scoring a lot of goals. They don't look incapable of creating chances.
No.
They've overall been quite good defensively, but you can see that there's frailties in comparison to last season. They've obviously lost Trafford and they lost Egan Riley. They're going to have also looked at their start of the season and thought, right, let's just be in touching distance, come playing Leeds at home.
Yeah.
If they beat us, they'll go out of the bottom 3, and that'll be their kind of mini seasons that they'll create for themselves. So this is going to be a huge game for them, an absolutely huge game for them. Of course, we need to pick up points, and we need to pick up points against the teams that are likely going to be in and around us at the bottom of the division. So this is a massive game for us to go and win as well. But what we do is we go there and we try and win the game, but we make sure we don't lose it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's how I see that game. We go and try and win the game, but we make sure we don't lose that game.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I mean, if you're looking kind of as a duo, Burnley, West Ham, are you wanting 4 points, ideally, minimum from that?
Yeah. The problem is that, I mean, I don't know what West Ham's fixture is when they come back. They lost away at Arsenal yesterday. That could be Nuno's first home game. I don't know that, but it could be. That's not going to be easy. No Premier League games easy.
Yeah, they've got Brentford at home and then away to us the week after.
That's a 6-pointer already, isn't it?
Yeah.
Brentford at home. I mean, you kind of want them to lose that and just carry on losing, I guess. I don't know. Do a draw there? A draw at home at Brentford and then lose to us? So. Yeah.
But it'd be interesting to see what that you expect them to be a different beast under Nuno. I mean, they didn't have a chance yesterday against Arsenal, obviously, but I feel Nuno with Bowen, Somerville, you just think, that's
Krugsley's kind of striker as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's there, isn't it, for him? You could see them start to massively improve. Forest, I mean, Postecoglou, oh my God. I mean, it's, he's probably going to get the sack within a couple of games, you would think. The international break now, it probably will.
They might do it now.
And then again, if they get someone in competent, their talent levels, they could suddenly, I could easily see it kind of Wolves, Burnley, Forest, Brentford, Leeds really scrapping it out. I can see a world in which Forest and West Ham move out just purely from the talent of the team and depending who's in the dugout.
I think. I mean, we were just talking about Forest before coming on. I think Forest are actually not as good as what people think they are. I think last season has skewed a lot of people's opinions on them because they were able to, get such momentum under Nuno. They never played brilliantly last season. They were defensively resolute, made the best of what they've got. I think they're just going to end up back where they probably should have been, which will probably end up being 13th or 14th. But you then add in the spice of Marinakis and potentially going through another one or two managers. Who knows? Like, we've seen teams better than that Forest team go down. We have. Yeah. So I think they'll probably be in and around there for the season. Just coming back to the two games, 6 points is absolutely dreamland. I would snap your hand off now with 4 and taking 3 at home, but 3 away at Burnley and a point away at the West Ham Stadium. I won't be against 2 points. No. I won't. I know that means that we've gone for a few games without a win.
West Ham games at home, though. West Ham games at home.
West Ham at home. I thought we had back-to-back away games.
No, Burnley away. Yeah. Burnley away.
All right, I've made that up here. West Ham at home. That's a different kind of fish. I didn't realize that. Yeah, well then 4 points is 4 points. You could almost say is a minimum.
Yeah,
4 points you could say is a minimum with a home game in there. If you take 3 points against Burnley away and then you draw against West Ham at home, you think, well, right, okay, fair enough. We've done all right out of them 2 games. 6 points then is actually much more attainable. Yeah. I don't know why I thought we were back-to-back aways.
Yeah, well, this is it because you look at it and you kind of break it into blocks, don't you? Because after that, we've got Brighton, Forest, and Villa, who you hope we can get. Probably take 4 points from that, maybe. Yeah. Before then, you've got Man City, Chelsea, and Liverpool back to back. That's where you're just going. Look, if we get anything, we're all right. And then it kind of eases up with a massive game against Brentford. You're getting into December then. I mean, you do break it up, don't you, into little blocks. Yeah. But right, what can we get? What do we need? I mean, so far we've done pretty much, I think, what the best we could have hoped. And if we'd have been a little bit luckier, slightly, things going our way, we'd have probably had. Well, we could have had 4 more points, ideally.
I personally think the way that the season's panned out so far. I said this in the preview. Us and Sunderland probably should switch positions. I think we should be on 11 and they should be on 8. Based on the games that I've seen and the way that the season's gone, I think our performances have shown that we're probably deserving of another 3 points, and I think theirs is deserving of another 3 less. That's the kind of way that it's kind of felt out. But that's football. It is what it is. Over the season, if we play like we are, we will stay up.
Yeah.
This 8 games for me has been a real good barometer of where this team is, and I truly believe we can stay up with these performances.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's been really encouraging. International break now, Jay, again. There's another one in November. I'm like, oh, Jesus. it's frustrating. So we'll have a couple of weeks before we get at it. That anticipation building up to the Burnley game is going to be absolutely huge, isn't it?
Yeah, it feels big, doesn't it? It does
Yeah.
feel. It feels a little bit like an early kind of not must win, but 6-pointer of some degree. You know, from you've got to bear in mind, like it's not just a Leeds. Like we are so zoned into the way that it feels for Leeds fans.
Yeah.
This is a massive game for Burnley. Massive game. And bear in mind, they beat Sunderland at home.
Yeah.
You know, that is their only win of the season so far. So they will be really, really up for this. And this is a tough game. And I don't want to see the meltdown if we don't win that game. Even if we lose the game, like it's not the end of the season. It's not like there's a long way to go. If you're needing to win the game in April, fine. Then you can get stressed about losing that game. But it isn't must win. There's no must win games at this stage of the season. I mean, plenty of teams have been in much worse positions than us right now and stayed up. You know, Wolves will still be saying, you know, some Wolves fans will be saying, we're a must win game today. It's not. Like, it's just not. I mean, they're one win away from being out of the bottom three.
Yeah.
So we have to be careful. We have to make sure that we're not like just flapping and being, you know, too over the top dramatic. But it will feel like I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. It's going to feel real edge. And you know what I'd say is a similar message that I was saying towards the end of last season with Leeds is, you know, let's get what we deserve. You know, we've deserved a couple more points out of this run. Let's do it. Let's go and really get it. I mean, what would be lovely is, do you remember first Premier League season, Rodrigo double, we beat him 4?
Yeah. 4-0.
Oh, what a performance as well.
We were brilliant.
I mean, great,
to be fair, they were already down and we were already comfortably safe, and we just rolled up there and just absolutely. I mean, the football that were on display that day was ridiculous. We absolutely battered them, really, and Rodrigo just took the mick. But yeah, it'd be nice to see a real gulf between the two sides. That'd be really nice, because I think so far that's what we've seen. I think we've seen Leeds look really competitive and Burnley look like a championship side trying to survive. That's been the difference between. I know they've looked okay, but they've not looked like winning the games like we have. So it'll be an interesting kind of barometer of where we're at. I think we look every bit a Premier League side. I really do. I think we look like a I saw somebody mention this earlier on another stream. Like if we were in season 4 of the Premier League and we were an established Premier League team, nobody would be looking at us in the same way that we're looking at ourselves right now. We'd just be like, we started the season all right. We look competitive. We'll be fine. But because it's his first season up, we kind of like really edgy about every setback that we take, you know. So yeah, it's an interesting kind of landscape. Is the bottom half of the Premier League right now?
Yeah, indeed. And you know, when you look at it as well, we've got a 4-point advantage over Burnley, so they're looking at that. If we beat Leeds, we're 1 point behind them. But if we win, that gap.
Same as the Wolves game, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, when we played Wolves, we were under a bit of pressure that day because they were at home. They needed to get their win. Bear in mind, so how often in the past would we have said, "Oh, here's Leeds United, giving them," and we actually made them lose 5 on the bounce at the beginning of the Premier League season.
I can't believe that. Yeah.
You know, so I've got real full faith in the team, the management, the way that we've set up at the beginning of this season. Of course, it'd have been really nice to be more comfortable and have more points on the board, but that's always going to be the case. I'm really realistic with where our expectations should be, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Great stuff. Well, we'll leave it there. I want to thank everybody who commented. If you could make sure you like the video as well. I know there's a YouTube algorithm thing going on at the minute, so I think there's a few content creators struggling with it at the moment, so every like helps. Subscribe to the channel if you're watching this again later. Get your comments in as well. Let us know what you think of what we've discussed. Myself and Jay, we will be back some point in the week, Thursday or Friday morning, to have a little chat about all things Leeds as per. We've got a show on later tonight, Huddersfield Town. It's Town Talk with Stephen Downs and co. So if you want to jump on that, laugh at some Terriers.
They lost again.
They lost again. So good viewing for Leeds fans. But yeah, please do tune into that one as well. And we will be back later on. I've been Stephen Brown, with me as ever, Jason Booker. Jason, thank you, mate.
Thank you, mate.
And we will see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.